So this is my second time here at the Holiday Inn Vacation Club. Holiday Inn Club Vacations, I'm not sure. Oak and Spruce Resort here in Lee, Massachusetts, in the Berkshires. You come here off this little road. It's only about 10 minutes from the superhighway from Interstate 90. The actual resort is up that hill, and this is the nice registration and check-in area. Okay, so there are no elevators here at Oak and Spruce. This is what I had last time. $295, which is... I always park in the wrong place. I'm going to drive my car over here, I think, for unloading. And then up the stairs. So it is on top. I don't know if that's good or bad. I'm going to get to haul a lot of heavy suitcases, so that'll be a good time. Good exercise. Too bad, no elevator. Not like the trick I had at Wyndham that time. So then, what is that? That's $296. Aha, $295. I swear I stayed in this unit last time. Aha. And this, no, I stayed in a similar unit, but it was the other way around. How do you turn on lights? There's like literally no lights. Finding the lights in these places, but this is the darkest one. Hunting for the lights. Luckily, I have my flashlight. Haha. Over here. You never know where the lights are going to be. Let there be light. And I remember this place before. I kind of enjoyed it. It has this fun sleigh and like rustic kind of feel. It's very specialized decor. So I guess, excuse me, it's something you have to be, I don't know what's the word I'm looking for here, ready for, or that you want, but, aha. So, but I think it's nice in Lee, Massachusetts. Very good deals. I got this one for 7,500 RCI points and the exchange fee. So really good deal. I didn't see any resort fees listed anywhere, just a deposit. So this is the main bedroom. As you can see, it probably used to be a lock off, but they've now completely closed off that door except as perhaps an emergency exit, although I'm not even sure. Yeah, I guess it would work like that. This is nice because it does have a table right here. Unfortunately, look at that. Right there is power. So this is going to be a great place to work. And you can be set up in here and be working completely separate from out here in the main room, the living room and everything, the kitchen and stuff. You can see, though, you could set up here. And you've got power definitely right here. So this is another place you could set up for work. And then the second bedroom is over here. So they're both king beds. It's quite nice. Or maybe this is the first bedroom. I'm not really sure. Oh yeah, I think I remember this one. Yeah, this is actually the main bedroom then, because it's got the whirlpool tub thing right there, and the bathroom kind of hidden in here. But I think, well, this is the master bedroom. I was wrong before. This is the master bedroom. I don't know which is better. For working, this is not better. For having your luggage or whatever on here is definitely better. I don't know why they have this, which can be luggage. And then they have, a luggage stand here. Might have to fight over that. They do have this exit right here to the, very well locked up, to the deck, which is quite nice. apparently some sort of thing for smoking. Here we are with just the balconies and what you can see, which isn't a heck of a lot, but it is a calm kind of feel, somewhat private, separated from other people. And then this is going to obviously go back into the main room. So there's two ways to access it. Go ahead and lock that back up for now. So yeah, the price is right. You do have the little bit, like I said, the sleigh decor, but it's kind of fun. I especially like this for having that table there, and I think I'm going to claim this this room this time. The kitchen is not as good as some of the others I've been in recently, like Jackson Gore Inn. It has a cheaper Whirlpool dishwasher. But the sniff test, not moldy or anything, nothing left in there that I could see in that quick glance. So that's going to work. Excuse me. You've got your standard kind of inexpensive oven, microwave here, and a fridge. And so now this is the last place where, they do have an ice maker. It is not running. So I'm going to turn that ice maker on right now. Ice maker on. I know it's become kind of a thing, but it's very important to me. Otherwise, this is a nice full fridge, and I think I've said it before, I generally prefer the more basic overhead freezer because you've got actually more room that you can use easily for frozen food, and easier to access, I think, than the way the underneath freezers are. Maybe I'm just old-fashioned. One thing I missed because of the door placement is in this other room with the table. You can tell this was originally a studio lock-off, but it's no longer set up that way because over here we do have, well, I don't know what I'd call it, a tiny hot plate, small microwave, small fridge, and a small sink. So kind of like a micro partial kitchen. So one thing that's different here at the Holiday Inn, kind of like just a standard brand Dove that I'm used to seeing, but also they've got it in this sort of metal holder where they've changed out the pump heads, and they must need some special tool to change that out. I think these are mostly full, so it's not going to be an issue, but I know that in some places I've had to ask for another thing of soap or whatever, and they just kind of dropped it off, and I could just click it in. And of course here, I guess you're going to have housekeeping come in and change it out with that. So that's interesting to see that I guess they're sort of worried about people, I don't know, stealing the bottles or something. And then looking at the shower here, they've got this interesting little decal there, which is just saying, I think, to activate the shower. Unlike most, where there would be like a little handle you'd pull up or whatever, they're saying you pull this part down, like the actual faucet itself. Just kind of a little unique thing, not really a problem, but not something I've seen anywhere else. And then after a couple of nights here, I can say that their bed is marginally better than at Oak and Spruce here. Marginally better than at Jackson Gore Inn. They had at least one pillow that wasn't like super poofy, painful, and the bed doesn't 100% need like added padding or anything. It's still, I would say, just over that hump. It's just acceptable. I would also tell Holiday Inn here that it wouldn't hurt for them to consider refreshing their beds or mattresses, or potentially putting mattress toppers or something on them. But it is sleepable. It's not horrible. One other thing I noticed is all of this, I am relatively certain, as part of the decor, is actually real wood. If it isn't real wood, they went to a lot of trouble to make a lot of it look like it's actual real wood. But as part of this, I'm not sure if it was for safety or what, they wanted to attach this to the wall, and so they ran a screw in here, but for reasons, I don't know if you can, so there you go. For reasons I don't understand, they didn't fully drive that screw in. Or it looks like they did, and then it's been backed out. And it's not a huge problem. It's kind of a bit out of the way, but if you were to not be careful, you could catch on this screw and kind of, that could hurt. So that's unfortunate. If I had my drill driver with me, I'd just right that back in. But I don't know if that's something I'm going to even be able to explain to maintenance unless they come in here and I'm like, right here. And it's not really a huge problem for me, but just something to be aware of is, I guess, you get the benefit of this, if it's a benefit of this rustic, real wood decor, but then you have to keep an eye out for some things like that. So this is towards the Beartown State Forest. This is actually the road named that, just off of the resort. Like, you turn on the main bridge to the resort, and then you go like the next right just before you get to where you would go to the actual units. And there's this kind of, I guess, state forest thing that's kind of cool, and it's kind of narrow and steep, windy road going up to there. You end up on a seasonally limited road and a thing to the state park. And then that keeps going that way, further into the mountain, I guess. Okay, so this is the activity center here at Oak and Spruce. You do kind of have to drive down here or walk a ways on a somewhat steep hill, but I recall there's a lot of cool stuff in here. And here at the entrance they have a bunch of brochures that you can get, and then further in you can see they have their free movie theater. This is the entrance, and this is the inside of the theater and what it looks like. This is their arcade area, which is actually pretty good. And then outside behind the arcade, this is where they have some seating and a playground for kids, the shuffleboard, and then further on, more things to do. Got shuffleboard, cool things to do, and up there's a pool, and somewhere's mini golf. Goes to the fitness center, changing rooms. Oh, saunas are through there. Huh. Okay. And the pool's over there. The Red Lion Inn for entertainment and food and gift shops, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And here's some of the interior of the Red Lion Inn. This is a place that's about 20 minutes away from Oak and Spruce, and it's kind of a bit of a famous place in one of the nearby towns. I do recommend checking it out. It has pretty good food and great service. Well, I have something to talk about, I guess. I don't know if it's following me around or what. It kind of reminds me of Palm Air, but hopefully maintenance comes faster here at Oak and Spruce. Of course, this time I'm not cold, I'm hot. It's set for, I probably can't make you able to see this, can I? Yeah, so it's set for 68. I set to cool, set the fan on. It's 77. No fan is running or nothing. And that's weird because it really ran pretty solid like a night or two ago, to the point where we were actually kind of turning it off for a little bit because it got pretty cool. But now, yeah, it's a little, we just noticed it was a little stuffy when we came back today. So maintenance is supposed to be coming. Hopefully they can fix it first time and it doesn't take a very long time. And maybe I'll just bug them more and more if they don't come. But it wouldn't be a trip if I didn't have something to talk about, right? At least this might be interesting. Well, I'm talking about interesting things. Oak and Spruce is a fine resort. I do find it a really good value in the RSI exchanges or extra vacations or last calls, but it is not handicap accessible at all. The stairs, there's a flight and a half of stairs to the top floor. Any floor of this building, you got to do stairs, at least half a flight. If you're in reasonably good shape, it's not a problem. But, if your knees are starting to bother you or whatever, it could be an issue. And it is a good amount of exercise, even for me, getting groceries or luggage up and down. But even more so in the master bedroom, you'll see that there's just like this tub thing. It's a pretty wide tub to get into. And that's also where the shower is. So that's it. There's no easy way in or out, no like a slide or anything. So you've got to be in good enough shape to get your leg over both ways to use the tub or to shower. And in the secondary bathroom, it's just a normal tub, so that's better. It's a thinner thing to kind of step over, but again, there isn't like a transfer chair or anything. Maybe there would be if you asked. I don't know. But if you have mobility issues, that's something to keep in mind. They did say when they emailed me the day before check-in that you could let them know if you had a problem. I don't know how well the day before they'd be able to get you an accessible unit or how many accessible units they have. But yeah, that's just something to keep in mind. You want to be good with stairs. You want to be good with getting in and out of kind of traditional tubs and things and not looking for really accessibility here. So the maintenance people came right out and came back, followed up when they said they would. They had to vacuum out some water out of the bottom of the melt tray for the in-unit condenser that had frozen. We had actually heard quite a bit of water running. It sounded like somebody running a tap on low. So I guess it built up a lot of ice. Surprising how much they had to vacuum out that had melted down. But the upshot of all of that is the AC was working again. Only about 3 or 4 hours after calling it in. So assuming that it doesn't freeze up again on us, thumbs up. They did a pretty good job. They did find out that for some reason the hot water heater seemed to have been turned off, which is weird because we were getting hot water, but he seemed pretty certain it wasn't like a breaker trip. So I don't know, maybe somebody came in and turned it off while we were out yesterday. I can't imagine why anybody would do that without telling the maintenance people, but I don't really care. Hot water is working this morning. Okay, so one more thing here at Oak and Spruce. I talked about how I wasn't real sure about the bed, but that I was pretty happy that I did find some that were not completely like blown up like bowling balls or beach balls or something, which is really nice. But one problem I can say is, while the pillows are better, I don't think the actual bedding is that much better than Jackson Gore Inn, unfortunately, at least to me. I'll check with my mom, see if she thought how she thinks the bed is. But what I can say is it's very slightly better than Jackson Gore Inn. Like, if Jackson Gore Inn bedding was like a 4, this is like a 4.1 out of 10 or something. I think it probably would be helped a lot by foam, but I didn't bring it on this trip because I just hadn't yet figured out how to compress it down so that it was easy to bring on every trip, and I wasn't expecting to need it here based on what I recall the last time I came to Oak and Spruce. But I think in the future I will try and remember to bring that with me. We're working on a plan to try and find some kind of hand pump vacuum seal bag that's big enough to take like the queen-sized foam, inexpensive foam, and shrink it down such that we could carry 2 of those kind of everywhere, just because, you're never entirely sure what the beds are going to be like, apparently. And I would say, again, for Oak and Spruce, there isn't a lot that they need to do in the units, in my opinion, as long as you're okay with kind of the rustic wood design, which I don't mind so much. But they could definitely use to probably refresh these beds somehow, even if they just want to put a topper on them. Because, at least for me, it's pretty... The bed itself is pretty uncomfortable. I also don't know if I brought this up this time around or not, but one thing that is missing in these units that I tend to prefer to have in the unit, especially if you have a 2-bedroom, and that is in quite a few of them, is there's no in-unit laundry. So they do, unlike some, they do have a laundromat here that I'm pretty sure they don't charge for. So I'll try and get that when I go there to do some laundry. We'll get a review of that. Now, I believe somewhere down here is the laundry room that you have to use, because they don't have them in the units, at least in 295. So it's right in the center courtyard. Open 24 hours a day, laundromat. Yep, here we go. Let's see what we got. Washing machine, speed cleans. I do like these. That one's in use. That's okay. Speed clean, commercial heavy duty. This is sort of like what I got at home, so I'm just gonna go with top loader, cold, large, sure, do an extra rinse, and go, yeah. Never do normal eco. That means they don't use, normal eco doesn't use enough water for the rinse, and it won't give you as much water for the wash, and it won't give you, if you did want hot or warm water, it won't do that. It just does cold, even no matter what you do with normal eco. Just a tip. And then just checking over here, you'd have to bring your own washing materials, but these I believe are dryers. Yep, pretty standard speed clean dryers. Fancy one here, Pet Plus. This is a GE, not as good GE commercial as the speed cleans, I don't think, but a good secondary choice. No, I take that back. GE, I don't know. The Maytag commercial would be sort of the secondary choice if you can't get a speed clean. Okay, so this is a much better look at the actual arcade area. It's got a pool table that's unfortunately not in good shape, but it is free to use. And then you can see there's more games that you can play to try and win tokens. There's ping pong, which is fun. There's, again, kind of your traditional arcade games, but Skeeball, I was very excited they had Skeeball there. Played that a lot. That's probably one of the best values here. A lot of these are almost basically just gambling things where you're trying to win prizes. Okay, so this is the area where they do have their cafe as well in the center activities building. They have a small business center, just one computer and a printer. For some reason it looks like they don't ever take down their Christmas tree, but actually did it up with Independence Day things because this is the 250th anniversary of the United States. And then you can see their craft area, and then they have this kind of cool larger but nowhere near the largest chess set I've seen set up at some of these resorts, a large Connect 4. Okay, so yeah, unfortunately the sauna is kind of inside. Changing room, men's bathroom. But this is what it is like in the men's. It's got a little heater here, but it does seem to be putting off a good amount of heat, but they don't have a second set of benches to get up higher up, so it's not really going to be that warm of a sauna, I don't think. Better than some, though. I mean, it feels pretty good, especially if you got like right here and are standing up. But I think if you sat down, you're going to be not getting quite as much heat as you might like. But all in all, I give this a middling sauna rating. And unfortunately, like I said, for me, it's kind of hurt because it's, you know, only men in this one and only women in the other one. And so, you know, yeah, if Chad was here, he's not on this trip, I guess we could sit in the sauna together. But usually I like to sit in there with Megan and Chad, or with whoever I'm with. And, you know, you can imagine a lot of the time that's going to be like my mom or my sister or whatever. And then just each of us going to a separate sauna isn't going to be that much fun, I don't think. Okay, and downstairs in the activity center, this is the fitness center, which seems middling. I don't know that much about fitness. I'm not seeing too many exciting things, and they have the lights off if you don't walk down to the area. Oh, here's the rest of it. Okay, so we've got our treadmills, our ellipticals, our stationary bikes, our stair stepper, and back here's where the weights are. I was gonna potentially ding them for not having weights, but boy, do they ever have weights. They go down to 5 pounds, very quickly up to 15, which is kind of, you know, about where I topped out when I ever did any kind of weightlifting at all. For dumbbells, we got oversized basketballs, which I think is like stuff you would do like with these large gray sitting balls for balance ball workouts. I did do something with some of these. These don't seem inflated quite enough to me, but I don't know. I only ever used it at a physical therapy place when I injured my knee, so yoga mats, that'll be great for like regular exercising. And a weight thing. I don't know why I'm trying to tell you guys about weights and exercise things. My knowledge tops out at some of the basic equipment's names. I think I've only ever used an elliptical and a stationary bike and a much smaller stair stepper. All right, so I've spent like at least an hour in my life. So not like hours and hours a day or anything, but like at least an hour in my life, maybe two, between an elliptical and a stepper before, but like a little one I had in my bedroom. And I did spend quite a while at one point with dumbbells, 15-pound ones. I don't know. You got to be somebody who's really into weightlifting to be picking up these 75-pound ones. I can't even move them. That would be dangerous. But 15 pounds for a lot of people is plenty heavy enough to work on your muscles. So anyway, this is a fitness center. I was able to get in here when nobody was around, so I gave a more detailed tour than I'm sure I did if I even mentioned it last time, because I probably didn't notice it. Here we have indoor something pool. This might be the hot tub right here. And then we got this pool. Without Chad here, nobody's been jumping in the pools or the hot tub or anything. And then we've got whatever this is. Maybe this is another hot tub, I'm not really sure. And then they got another indoor pool. These are kind of basic, boring pools, nothing very exciting. But having this much indoors, I guess, is good if you're here in the wintertime. And obviously, when the outdoor pools are closed, out of the summertime. But now that it's summer, most people are going to the outdoor pools, I think. And this, we can see they have their cornhole pit as well as a outdoor kind of sand volleyball area next to the laundromat. Now, here in Building 17, where we were, Unit 295, it's actually not that bad to go right across the street and get to the garbage and recycling. So that's good. But one of the things that I did want to mention with the laundry is that, well, it's nice that it is free to use the machines. You do have to still bring your own soap and things. I didn't see any, like, 1 or 2 packets of laundry detergent like a lot of the places that have laundry in the unit will do. But the other thing is, But one of the other things is you don't really get that many towels and washcloths and things. So they charge you $11 to swap out the towels, washcloths, and hand towels and things, which normally I'd say isn't really a big deal. I don't need somebody to swap them out for me. But when you have to go in your car and all the way down the road and over by the activity center and then walk back to the laundromat and have more detergent with you, and you have to keep going back or sit there for like 3 hours, right? It's a bit more of a problem. I don't mind it when there's laundry in the unit because, you throw it in while you're working, doing anything else. Whenever you come back, you move it along, it's fine. But it's far less convenient when you have to go to another building and far enough away that you got to drive. Even Vacation Village at Weston, you had to pay there, which was annoying. So here you don't have to pay for the machines too. But there at least it was in the same building, just in the center of the floor that you were on. So that was still more easily accessible. But of course, that's a negative here at Oak and Spruce, in that they don't have laundry in the unit. And it can be a big pain, take a little bit more effort. So I definitely prefer having laundry in the unit. And I would say a good 85% of the units I've been in so far, their 2 bedrooms have laundry in the unit. So it is unfortunate they don't have that here. But I do think that they make up for that in having a lot of good amenities, a lot of games and things you can play. You can borrow board games as well. And of course, I regularly see the exchanges or the extra vacations at very low rates. So I think pricing it so much lower than kind of the average, at least in the summertime when I'd be interested in coming, makes up for not being maybe the absolute best place. So in terms of amenities inside the unit, right? It's a little smaller unit and it doesn't have laundry in the unit. That's what I mean. So I think that's a okay trade-off, but you have to, think about how much you need to be doing laundry yourself. If it's once in a week like me, you can live with the schlepping around, I think. Also, if you're in good enough shape to carry things up and down the stairs or younger, that's not a problem. Obviously, if you're having issues with stairs or you can't carry, a bag full of laundry, that's going to, way higher and maybe would argue against coming to Oak and Spruce at all, right? Because as I said before, you have to be somewhat, I'm not going to say fit, right? I'm not a fit person, but you need to be able to carry whatever your suitcase is up a flight and a half, 2 flights of stairs, and your laundry, if you're going to do it, down and up and walk it in, a couple hundred feet to the laundromat too. One other thing that I noticed, and I only noticed because I was making coffee with their little coffee machine. Nothing wrong with a coffee machine, but compared to a bunch of places that I've stayed, I would say that the water here is fine for showering and everything, but it's one of the few places I've been to where I was like, especially after running the dishwasher, I think, which stirs up a lot of water, where you're going to want to have a lot of spring water, bottled water that you bring in yourself. I don't know if the water is bad or not, but it let's see if I can give you an example here. I'm going to get a clean mug because I don't have, and I hope this will show it because I did have to fill the coffee pot a ways, and of course now I filled it with spring water and I'm making coffee, so I didn't think to show you this before. But if, I don't know if it's going to show up. It's starting to show up. I can sort of see it. I don't know. It's not as bad until you get a lot of it. I don't know if you can see, but that's pretty cloudy. There's something in there. Yeah, okay, you can see it's pretty darn cloudy. I don't know what is up with that, but if I stop and look at it, I can see that there's like some kind of particles in there, and so I just don't know that I would want to be drinking that. I had run some through for coffee. It was fine before it got stirred up by running the dishwasher on a given day. So it's not immediately apparent, but if you run the dishwasher, then you get this really cloudy water out. And so even more so, for me it's usually about taste, but even more so, I would want to have a water filter if I brought it along like a travel Berkey or something, but I would just buy spring water locally. You just get your gallons of spring water, which again is another thing you got to be able to schlep up the stairs. And, you got 3-4 gallons. It's not exactly light. So I don't want to make it seem like I'm really talking down Oak and Spruce, because it is a lot of fun, too. And I like kind of having an interesting decor. I like that it's close by to me. I like the arcade area, Skeeball. I don't get to play that a lot anymore. I loved it as a kid. It's fun. It's not that expensive compared to some of the arcade things. I like that they have shuffleboard right there, free mini golf. I don't like the sauna as much like I would like to like the sauna. I like that they have a sauna. I'm just not going to use it probably by myself anywhere near as much as if I could go with family or friends. But where was I going with this? Oh, I don't want to talk it down a lot, but there are obvious reasons, I think, that is pushing that that value proposition where it's really good when you're getting it for $379. And as far as I can tell, no resort fee, even though RCI claims there might be one, no resort fee, or $299 and like 7,500 RCI points or something. When you're getting that last call, or you're getting the very inexpensive exchange, like I did kind of in the last call period, that's a great deal. for what you get and what you get access to and what you don't end up having to pay fees for, it really works. But if you were looking at a full cost, full maintenance fee to stay here, which I imagine is, let's just take the average for 2 bedrooms of, I think Artis said it was almost $1,400 now. I don't think that I would feel anywhere near as good about coming here for $1,400 for the week than I do for sub $500. So, really probably around $400. But at $400, it's a steal, and it's in a nice enough area. There's a lot to do here at the resort, but you have to keep in mind that you need to be physically able to really take advantage of those deals, I think. Okay, so Holiday Inn, Club Vacations, Oak and Spruce, final thoughts. A lot of the vibe of this place is very similar to Jackson Gore Inn, in my opinion. It has a bunch of amenities that are included. It has some other things you can do for nominal charges, and some that are fun, but perhaps a little expensive. And that's all related to the arcade. Depending on what games you play, some are very good value and some are not, in my opinion. So anyway, there's a lot of things you can do. Easily go to play mini golf, easily go to play pool, go to play ping pong, go to play shuffleboard. None of that has an additional cost. In the arcade, Skeeball is a lot of fun and is a nominal cost. And then some of the other more gambling style things where you basically pull a lever, try and win tickets or whatever, are not a good value in time versus the money cost, in my opinion. But they can still be fun in a way to like burn off if you bought too many credits or whatever onto your card. The problem that Oak and Spruce has is not the amenities, and it's not the service teams. Maintenance is great, comes right out, follows up proactively, doesn't require you to hound them, and does solve the problems. It was, aside from the fact that it sucked that the AC froze up and stopped working, the solution to that problem, as well as addressing proactively another problem we hadn't even noticed, was excellent and top-notch. Where, similar to Jackson Gore Inn, where the main drawback to Oak and Spruce happens is in the unit itself. There is no elevator access, so beyond that, there's also no accessibility or handicap accessibility access to showers or anything, not even like handlebars help you get in and out. And so if you're not pretty able and pretty well able to balance yourself on your feet, it can be difficult or dangerous. And it can be difficult to get your luggage up and down the stairs, any heavy things if you're buying drinks or whatever. And in that area, I would point out that it's a smaller 2-bedroom. It obviously used to be a lock-off, but has been reconfigured, so it isn't. But still, it has basically like a second sink to play hot, what do you call it? Hot plate or whatever. Mini stove, burners here. Yeah. Has that and microwave and stuff, instead of, say, taking that space and water hookups for a in-room washer dryer. So there's no laundry in-room. You've got to take it down, if you're in building 17 like we were, all the way down by car to the activities center basically and go past it to the laundromat. They don't charge you to use the machines though, so that's good, but still that's another hassle and heavy carrying things. In terms of carrying heavy containers like bottles of water, you're going to want to do that. I had earlier in my review that the water out of the tap in the kitchen, anyway, the main kitchen, is cloudy. I don't know what's in it, but I didn't want to drink it. It was concerning a little bit. I'm sure it's fine. The ice hasn't made anyone sick or anything, but it might also be filtered before it makes ice. Not really sure. But That was pretty cloudy, so you probably want to bring up your own water or drinks, and that just adds to the difficulty if you are not in pretty good shape to carry gallons of water up almost 2 flights of stairs. But all of that's still something that I would say can work pretty well for the right people. But the bed, I would put the bed at barely acceptable. So I had many nights where I could not sleep because my hips would hurt. The pillows, though, were better than at a lot of places, so that's a plus. But I am a little concerned with the number of places where I end up feeling like, oh, I should have, or I will need to bring a foam bed topper to make the bed sleepable. But this is a personal thing. It might just be me. But even so, the other thing to point out about the bedding, this is pretty common around hotels, though, is that it does have, instead of like one comforter or something, it has like a sheet, a blanket, another sheet, and they can get kind of discombobulated. And it's less convenient to remake the bed than I think what most people would have at home, with at least like a duvet cover or something that zips on. Anyway, all of that being said, I do think that how you rate oak and spruce is also going to depend on how you book it. So it's often available for a last call in RCI. For the 2 bedrooms, that's $379. I haven't seen any resort fees. It's also regularly available via an inexpensive points RCI exchange. I think I paid 7,500 points for this, and the $299 exchange fee. So that also for me works out to be like $375 or so on a relatively decent RCI points account maintenance fee ratio. At those prices for a week in a 2 bedroom, and for all the fun things you can go do right here at the resort, as well as the fun things to do in the Berkshires and near to the resort, nature trails, hiking, seasonally limited road to a park, which can be fun if you have the right vehicle, art, museums, botanical gardens, you name it. There's a lot of options here, as well as shows and things like that. They throw in, also talking about shows, they throw in the movie theater here, right? There's a lot of things you can be doing out and about. But I feel like at those prices, you can forgive a lot. At those prices, I think I'm willing to put up with a lot of little small things. And if they fix their mattresses or put a mattress topper on it, I think this would immediately jump up for me. Because again, especially at those prices, if I can sleep well and I can work well, which also I should point out, I had a great setup here for working, and I showed how it would be easy to set up to work, but I didn't really show my work setup yet. But just on this secondary table, I can easily have snacks, my headset, my laptop, my drink, tissues, whatever. Power, again, I think I pointed this out in the first, when I did the first walkthrough, but power right there. This is great. You can work in here completely separate from the people who are in the other half of what used to be the lock-off. So the main kitchen, the main living room, the other bedroom, people can be coming, going, doing whatever they need to do, and you can just be working like you're in your own little office. And the Wi-Fi here is free. There's no password or anything. You just connect to it, and it works great. No problems with Zoom, no problems with email, no problems with remote control of other computers. One of the best Wi-Fi experiences that I've had. I mean, certainly top tier for working. But if you cannot sleep comfortably, that's like one thing you really need to be able to do in a lodging place. So unfortunately, because of that, basically by itself, I can't see giving it above a 6.5 on the Tug scale. Technically, I would give it a 6.9 if I could, but really there's only half points on the Tug scale, so 6.5. If they fix the beds, I think this would easily jump up to a 7, because I've definitely been in resorts that have less things available or less things available for free. I've definitely been in resorts that have way worse maintenance response to issues, and Wyndham Palmair in terms of worst response, maybe the worst. So yeah, Oak and Spruce. Like so many of my reviews, I end up in this middle point where some things are amazing, some things are you should know but you can live with, and some things are ridiculously poor. And it ends up making it hard to give it one rating. But as I said, 6.5 for now, especially if you're getting it at the price points that I was talking about. If you were getting Oak and Spruce probably for full maintenance, like I wouldn't necessarily buy here, probably for the full maintenance fees on 2-bedroom, or if you were doing a straight exchange of a average 2-bedroom unit that has maintenance fees of, say, $1,300 on average, add the $300 exchange fee. For $1,600 for a week, I would be tempted to look elsewhere. I don't know that it necessarily changes the overall rating from a 6.5 for me. But a lot of things that I mentioned that I can easily forgive, like not having laundry in the unit, become a lot harder at full price. I think I would definitely be looking for a last call, an extra vacation at a decently low price, or an exchange that I could do for a small amount of points, given the compromises that you do end up making here at Oak and Spruce. There are better places, I think, that you can go if you're willing to be putting $1,600 or so into a 2-bedroom exchange.